Hey guys, Rick Stone here from the blog Our Stoney Acres and the online gardening school. Welcome to our Friday gardening tip where I try and help you grow your own food in a backyard garden. Okay, so this week we are going to talk about 5 crops that you can grow and plant in September if you live in zones 5, 6, and 7. So these are plants that will be hardy for you, even planting them as late as September in those colder zones. So before we get started this week, please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, and when you do so, make sure you click the notification bell so that you know the next time I post some videos. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. All right, so these 5 crops that we're going to talk about today, we're getting late in the year. So September is late in the year, and for zones 5, 6, and 7, and if you don't know what zone you live in, I've included a link down below that will take you out to my website where you can find out what garden zone you live in. But for those of us that live in 5, 6, and 7, September is getting pretty late in the year for planting because we're running out of sunlight. Okay, the days are getting shorter and they're going to get dramatically shorter here in the next 4 or 5 weeks. And so we're really starting to get limited on the crops that we can plant in September. But there are still a few that we can get in. Now, your expectations need to be a little bit different on all of these plants. We're talking about plants that are almost all of them are leafy greens, and they're also going to be plants that you're probably going to be harvesting at the baby stage if you're not planning on offering any protection. Now, if you want to do some protection in the form of a hoop house or a cold frame, you'll be able to harvest a little bit longer, but most of your harvest is going to be next spring. So planting now, you'll get a little bit of a harvest of baby leaves, and then next spring you'll have a great harvest if you overwinter them in a cold frame or a hoop house, okay? So let's go through the list. Number 1 on the list is a plant that I talked about last week. It's called Mache. Now, Mache is something that a lot of gardeners are not familiar with. You'll also find seeds for it under the name corn salad, or if you live in Europe, sometimes it will be called lamb's ear. So Mache is a leafy green. It's kind of a lettucey texture, has a really nutty taste, super good. We really like it. It's very hardy, and this is one of the plants that you can put in September that you can dependably plan on a harvest, because Mache likes cool weather. It likes 65 degrees, and that's what's coming up pretty soon for most of us. And so it's a perfect time to plant Mache. Now, if you happen to live in like zone 7 or zone 8, wait a little bit longer into the middle of September and then plant it, and it will do really, really well. For those of us in those colder zones, get it in as soon as you can and baby it along for the rest of September. It should take off and do really well. And the nice thing about Mache is it continues to grow even when we start running out of sunlight. So it will continue to grow even after we have less than 10 hours of daylight, which is really nice. So good crop to plant in September. Number 2 on the list is spinach. We love spinach. Spinach is a great crop to plant in the fall. Your expectations need to come down a little bit on September planting, because you're not going to get full-size leaves planting this late in the year if you live in 5, 6, or 7, okay? You'll get baby spinach, so nice baby leaves, and then if you cover it up with a cold frame or a hoop house, it'll overwinter. You'll have a little bit to harvest. It won't do a lot of growing over the winter, but then spring arrives, you know, even in a cold frame, spring arrives a lot earlier, and so, you know, the end of February, early March, those plants will really start to take off again and will do really well. And so it's a great crop to overwinter. In fact, I've got another video, I'll put a link up here on overwintering spinach. But a September planting of spinach, keep your expectations to baby spinach. So yeah, you could plant a little closer if you wanted, because most of the harvest that you're going to be getting is smaller leaves. You're not going to get bigger plants planting this late in the year. Number 3 on our list of crops to plant in September is lettuce. Now again, with lettuce this late in the year, we are talking about baby lettuce. We're running out of daylight, we're running out of warm weather, and so most of what you're going to be getting this time of year will be baby lettuce. So look at plants, varieties that are leaf varieties. So leaf lettuce is going to do a lot better planted this late in the year. It grows faster, will give you more of an opportunity for harvest. The other nice thing is you're not fighting the heat at all this time of year, and so it will be nice and tasty. Okay, it'll be good, yummy lettuce. But don't expect a lot of big lettuce. Don't plant anything that grows ahead. So romaines, it's too late. Even Bibb lettuces, you're going to harvest those at the leaf stage. You're not going to get ahead. Iceberg lettuce, no chance this time of year if you live in 5, 6, or 7, zones 5, 6, or 7. It's too late in the year for it to mature. Now, the other nice thing about planting lettuce this time of year is little lettuce plants are hardier than bigger lettuce plants. And so you can plant those, put a cold frame over them, and kind of just let them overwinter, and they'll take off, and you'll have like a really, really early harvest of lettuce next year. So we're talking, you can probably start harvesting the middle of March, maybe even sooner. You'll have lettuce that you can harvest. So great September plant. I talk about kale a lot this time of year. And kale's number 4 on our list. And the reason why I like kale this time of year is because cool weather makes it taste better. Okay, kale isn't the world's greatest tasting plant. I eat it because it's good for me, not because I really love it. But in the fall and in the winter, kale kind of changes its character a little bit. The cold weather sweetens it up and makes it really tasty. So again, if you're planting kale in September, it's a little bit late, so you're going to be expecting just baby-sized leaves, okay? So smaller leaves, and then again, you can overwinter those and they'll take off in the spring. So kale is another great crop for you to plant this time of year. Number 5 on our list is another one that you've probably never heard of before, and it's called Claytonia. Claytonia can also be listed as miner's lettuce. And it's another leafy green. You can see from this picture, they're not terribly productive, just a kind of a nice add-in, kind of a fun novelty crop that you can grow. We really like it, but it's not a big producer. So buy some seeds, they're available. You kind of have to dig around and look for those seeds because they're not as readily available, but there's several online places that will sell them to you, and you can get those planted in September. They do really well and they continue to grow. Just like Mache does, they'll continue to grow even after we hit that 10-hour day mark and we no longer have 10 hours of sunlight. Claytonia will continue to grow. So another great crop that you can grow in September and get it planted, and it'll grow and do really, really well. All right, so those are my 5 favorite crops to plant in September if you live in zones 5, 6, and 7. I know I missed some. So what do you guys think? Are there some other crops that you plant in September that do really well? Put them down below. I'd love to have some other ideas. I'm always trying to experiment in my garden, so leave some comments down below and let us know what some other September crops to plant are, okay? That is all I have for this week. Please make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the notification bell when you do so that you get notification when I release new videos. And then please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And we'll see you again next Friday. Everybody have a great week. Happy gardening.